All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to talk about a concept that's, secretly running the world. It's behind everything from your bank transfers to the crypto that's all over the news. We're talking about quorum. And it's this incredibly elegant mathematical answer to a really, really old problem.
So just think about this for a second. How do we agree on anything when there's no one in charge, no boss, no central server, nothing? How does a group of totally independent players ever land on a decision they can all trust? You see this everywhere, right? From a simple group project to a massive global network like Bitcoin. It's a huge question.
Well, this challenge actually has a name. It's called the agreement problem, and it's basically what happens when you get a bunch of people or computers trying to work together without a solid rulebook. The result? It's usually chaos or something much, much worse, like outright corruption.
Okay, so when we say agreement in this context, we're not just talking about everyone nodding their heads. It's way deeper than that. It's this idea of consensual convergence. It's like a negotiated peace treaty, a delicate balance where all these scattered little bits of information finally come together to create one single solid truth that the whole system can rely on. But of course, here's where things get really tricky. What happens when some of the players in the game are, well, lying? Or what if they just disappear? Their computer fails, they go offline. Any system that can't handle that kind of disruption, it's pretty much dead in the water from day one. So the solution to this is this really powerful idea called Byzantine fault tolerance, or BFT. I love this phrase. It's like a mathematical inoculation. It's a vaccine against corruption in the system. Basically, it's a set of rules that lets the network keep its cool and stay honest, even when some of its own members are being shady or just plain broken. And that brings us right to the hero of our story today, Quorum. Quorum is the actual mechanism, the beautiful, elegant solution that makes all this BFT stuff actually work. It's how we build trust in places where, by default, there is no trust.
So, what is a quorum, really? Well, at its core, you could call it the epistemological nucleus, which, is a super fancy way of saying it's the heart of the truth. To put it simply, it's the minimum number of participants that have to agree before an idea becomes an official, operational fact for the entire system. It's the tipping point.
And this is where it gets really, really deep. A quorum isn't just some tech jargon. It is, and I quote, the minimal condition for shared existence. Think about that. It's the basic logic of how we construct a shared reality out of a bunch of different individual points of view.
Okay, so how does this whole thing actually work in practice? Let's pull back the curtain and look at the essential building blocks. What makes this kind of agreement, this consensus, even possible?
Well, it all starts with what we call nodes. These are just the individual players, the autonomous agents in the network. They all talk to each other using a protocol. Think of it like the grammar, the shared language of the system. They show their agreement by voting. And here's the kicker. All of it is governed by the threshold. That's the magic number, the line in the sand that turns a bunch of separate opinions into a single collective truth.
And a lot of the time, that threshold is based on a really simple but incredibly powerful formula. You need more than half. N divided by 2 plus 1, a simple majority. By setting that minimum bar for agreement, a quorum makes sure that even if a bunch of nodes are lying or broken, the honest majority can still win the day and make the right call. That's the whole point of Byzantine fault tolerance right there.
You know, this threshold creates this incredibly stark dividing line. It's night and day. On one side, below the threshold, you just have chaos, total entropy, a complete breakdown of any shared reality. But the second you cross that line, boom, you get coherence. A single, stable truth suddenly emerges out of all that noise. So with these rules of the road in place, we can start to see how the system actually handles information. I mean, how does it create this collective truth during the normal everyday business of reading and writing data? It really comes down to two sides of the same coin. First, you have a write quorum. This makes sure that enough nodes agree before any new information gets written down. Then you have a read quorum, which makes sure that when you go to look up that information, you're getting the official, consistent version. It's this 1-2 punch that keeps the system's memory rock solid and totally reliable. And this is so important to get. Consensus here doesn't mean everyone agrees all the time. 100% unanimity is basically impossible. Instead, it's this dynamic convergence. The system is always working, always negotiating, always adjusting to maintain that one single operational truth. It's a living process.
Okay, let's zoom all the way out now, because this stuff isn't just for computers. The ideas behind Quorum, they touch on something way, way bigger. You could honestly call it the fundamental logic of civilization itself.
What a quorum system does is, it's almost like a kind of alchemy. It takes the total randomness of chaos and forges order. It takes a simple number of participants and turns it into real, legitimate authority. It takes a bunch of independent actors and guides them into perfect sync. And maybe most importantly, it transforms raw, meaningless data into a powerful, collective decision.
And this table just lays it all out so perfectly. Think about it. An individual node is like a single neuron in your brain, or one citizen in a country. The whole network? That's the brain itself, or a democracy in action. The protocol is the language they all speak. The quorum? That's the jury, the moment the decision gets made. And the final result, the yield? It's systemic truth. Something as solid and real as a law of physics or a law of the land.
Which leaves us with one last, kind of mind-bending thought. A quorum isn't just a math problem. It's a deep question about reality itself. It really asks us how many minds have to agree on something before it actually becomes real. That's a question for mathematicians, for sure, but it's also a question for every single one of us.